been raining for the last 2 days non-stop. I've checked the internet. We do have some, so hopefully things are going to be okay. Right, let me get set up and let me know what the video and sound quality is like, please, because you never know. Right, there we go. Well done, YouTube. Oh, I don't want that. Right, who have we got in the workshop? First comment to pop up, Simon Roll. Morning, Simon. Morning, Andy and crew. Are the Sparkies been then? Yes, finally, they aborted mission. In actual fact, a bit of a story behind this. So, great segue. Thanks, Simon. Let me just get rid of the adverts. Don't need the special soap. Thank you. We're all good. Right. Skip the trial. Cool. Okay. So, Will came down. That's his name. Came down and we had a long discussion about what was required. Okay. Think about that. And I explained to him that we have a sandblasting, shot blasting cabinet that uses lots of air, and we need to run all the compressors to generate enough air to feed the air compressor, the sandblasting cabinet. So he went away and he made a plan, and we worked out how we're going to get the power from the house, because it comes from the main fuse board, to a sub board, which is in the thumbnail, into the workshop. Actually, the sockets are outside, and we'll go and see those maybe a bit later on. I'll take it outside the workshop. Very rare occurrence to go and explore outside the workshop at Andy Mechanic's site. Now, Will went away and he sort of relayed this information back to head office, and they decided to come up with an action plan and fired through a quote. All was seeming to be going tickety-boo. Quote came through. Ouch. Not cheap. Not cheap at all. Just over $4,000. Like, whew. But it needed to be done. We've been really struggling for power in the workshop for quite some time, and I had to bite the bullet, basically. So I gave the go-ahead. Anyway, Will, unfortunately, cancelled the date that he decided to turn up, and I'd made special arrangements to be at home that day, and it got cancelled. So, had to wait another week, and then a couple of lads turned up, and we had another sort of discussion about what was going to be done, you know, toolbox meeting at the start. And it came to fruition pretty early on that the plan was completely wrong. And the information that Will had taken back to the office was completely wrong. He'd reported back that although I had a number of air compressors, I only wanted to run one at a time. And they would have to come up with some kind of switch gear to control the air compressors turning on and off. Now, I can't quite understand his reasoning behind even contemplating thinking that, other than maybe trying to keep the duty cycle of the compressors down, but we never even discussed that. Plus, of course, by running only one air compressor at a time, there would never anywhere near enough air to run the sandblasting cabinet. But I think it was a bit over his head, to be honest. So, the lads, well, they went away again. Yeah. Sorry, what we've got on board isn't going to do the trick. We'll have to come back. So, a week later, they came back and had a little meeting, and everything seemed to be fine. And they made a start installing. And I was busy, you know, doing my admin work in the office. So they're busy drilling holes and banging and clattering and stuff. And they got it all sorted out. But they ran out of time. There's supposed to be an additional run of cable into the workshop and a 16 amp socket. In fact, this one here, this socket, there's 3 of these outside. This socket is supposed to be up there on the beam, and that's what I can run the plasma cutter or the MIG, or, you know, anything big basically off this, including at the moment that large air compressor that's at the back of the, hang on, turn you around. For those that don't know, the big air compressor, I can just plug it in, and the actual socket is going to go just up there on the beam. I'll have a wander around later on and show you. So that part of the plan didn't happen, and they are, of course, going to come back again, but I haven't been told when, although I did tell them I'm at home for Monday and Tuesday next week. So tomorrow and Tuesday, I will be here. I need to be here because I've got to empty the workshop and make sure they've got everything that they need and take things down and put things up and, you know, give them access to where they need to be. And to make sure it's done as to how I want it to be done. So, interesting times. Also, they did a revised quote. Yeah, you guessed it. It only went up. $4,700 including tax, materials and labour. Holy moly. Anyway, so we do have power. And like I say, I'll take you for a wander outside probably. It's not raining at the moment, which is good. We're under the carport anyway, so it's not too bad. Roger Heaps. Good morning, Andy and crew. Good morning, Roger. Pete. Hi, Andy and crew. Back after some time away. Well, welcome back, Pete. Hate to say it, but I hadn't noticed. Sorry, mate. But it's good to have you back. Thank you. Mike Bazansky. Good morning, all. Good morning, Mike. Vijayant Governor. Hello, Andy and crew from South Africa. Good morning, Vijayant. Connor Kay is in the workshop. Morning, Connor. Morning, Andy and crew. Hope it's all plain sailing at the moment, Connor. Connor understands my jokes, sort of. They're not really very funny. Ted McConaughey. Is that right? McConaughey? Good afternoon, Andy and crew. Good afternoon, Ted. I take it must be Saturday afternoon where you are, because we're in the future here in New Zealand, which is really good. We get to find things out first. So, just out of interest, while we're talking about electrical stuff, and we will be going outside to have a look at the work that they've done. I also, yesterday, when I was in Auckland, no, the day before yesterday, Friday, honestly, the days blur into one now, I popped into the Russell electrical place to pick up some more of these 3-pin. They call these caravan sockets and plugs and stuff over here. That's the matching, socket, and this would be the plug, and it goes onto the cable. A bit of Jay's May for you there. So it's 3-pin, as you can see there. Look, 16 amps, which is perfect. I run a lot of my heavy duty electrical stuff off this style plug. It's far more durable than the New Zealand 15 amp plug, which is essentially exactly the same size as a 10 amp plug. It just has slightly thicker terminals on it. But there's not really any more room on the inside for the heavier cables, so they're just crap, in all honesty. So these, yes, they're slightly more money, but they're a lot better, more durable, pins don't get bent, and way over the job. So my question to you, and you're going to be basically jumping onto Google now, no doubt, for these plugs, how much? I went in and bought 4 of these, and they wanted $155 for 4 of these plugs. They never used to be that expensive. Absolutely horrendous. I managed to beat the guy down to 135, but even so, still a lot of money. So what would you pay where you are for 4 of these plugs? There you go. That's today's sort of price comparison around the globe. I like to do those because it's interesting. Now, where do we get to? Peter Swatman. Hi, Andy and crew. Good morning, Peter. Pete, it's nice to be missed, lol. Sorry, mate. It's too many names. Honestly, if I had a live stream with thousands of people, I would have no chance. This is just about manageable. Machine NZ, morning Andy and crew. Good morning, Kevin. How are you? You all good? I've been using my mill, but only for countersinks. I've been busy. I've nearly finished. When we go for a wander around the workshop, I'll show you what I've done so far. John Dwyer, evening to you, Andy and crew, from me in the United Kingdom. Kingdom of Unitedness. Very good. Still in mourning, no doubt. Not good. Not good at all. Been lots of TV stuff going on about that, hasn't there? About old Queenie. Man, she did a good job, didn't she? 70 years in the same job. It's pretty impressive. Can't be that many people that have done that. Simon. Well, after last week's stream, I had a few more ciders. Good man. And went to bed. An hour later, the wife woke me up. The old lady next door had had her windows put out. At 1:10 in the morning, there I am, boarding the windows. Seriously, somebody had thrown something through the windows. That's ridiculous. They should be hung, drawn, and quartered for that. Especially for an old lady in a house as well. That's not very nice. Well, not too much sleep for you there, Simon. I bet you had a bit of a lie-in. Daniel, Mr. Bedell. Well, I know the US version of those plugs are $43. Wow. and change plus taxes per plug for our version of those plugs. Bloody hell, that's crazy. Because when you go off the exchange rate as well, that's well over 50 New Zealand dollars each. Jeez. Take a look at my message on Facebook. Right, hang on then. Interaction, I like this. Ooh, look at this. Right. Right, Daniel. What have you done there? Picture of the ladder with some windows. There you go. He doesn't mind me showing the pictures. There you go, look. Sorry about the glare. Not too sure what it relates to. Let's read the text. This is what I did yesterday during the storm. That was obviously Hurricane Ian that you were talking about earlier on. Removed the old wooden windows and installed 2 modern vinyl windows in my home. Ah, there you go. Like he's putting new windows in. That's what we've been doing. Very good. You can come around here, Daniel, and do all our windows because they are rotten, made of timber, and they're knackered. Must be 1,000,000 years old, I think. It's on the list to do. It is. But it's going to be quite a long way off. There's lots more things to do before we change the windows in the house. Where do we get to? Machine said, all prices have gone crazy. They have. It's just bloody ridiculous. I'm trying to source some 4-inch round phosphor bronze. Wow. Yeah, that won't be cheap. That's expensive here. Equivalent price in the UK is 75% cheaper. How do they justify it? It's just madness. Absolute madness. I haven't bought any steel recently. The last steel that I bought was that box section that's up there with some angle iron to replenish what I'd already used. And I had to cut the order down. It was just astronomical. I'm not spending that kind of money on stock. It just had to, I just went for about 1/3 the amount. And that was still over $1,000. It was just mental. So I use my box section very carefully now. Any steel, really. I'm always try to use old stuff first from the scrap pile that's over there, all my cut-offs and things, before I start attacking new stuff, because it's just too much money. It really is. Oh my word! Hang on. Vijayant, what is the name of the plug, please? Well, they call it a caravan plug here, which is, I suppose they use it for caravans, to plug them in on the night time onto a power supply. But in the UK, these are a 16 amp plug. Still only single phase, just got the 3 pins. The big pin is the earth, obviously, the ground. Earth. But I don't remember them being that particularly expensive in the UK. UK Mechanic 16 amp plug is £3.85 each from the Screwfix. You are kidding me. I need to order some from Screwfix because they're exactly the same. I mean, they do the same job. Right, I'm going to show you a neat little trick with these though. So I'm going to take it out of the wrapping. Bear with me. To camera, I need to camera. So we'll get rid of the wrapping. And goodbye instructions, don't need those. And if you look at this, I only came across these very recently. No screws to attach the cable. Very, very cool. So you thread I don't know if you can see very well, but you thread the cable, obviously in this case the brown one, the live, in there. It seems like a little bridge, a little hoop, so that holds it in place. You make sure it's all the way down. I actually did one wrong yesterday, and I double checked it and spotted my error. But you've got to push the cable all the way in, and then when it's in, all you do is you push that up, and it clicks in. I won't click into place because it's a ball leg getting it back out, but you click it into place. And if you look down there, there's a couple of little ties. It reminds me of Scotch locks. It's very much on the same principle as a Scotch lock, which I absolutely hate. However, this, which remains nice and dry, where there's no, because it's lovely, well sealed, this is a fantastic idea. Makes them super quick to do. Really, really quick. Very, very happy. And then once you've done that, obviously you thread that on the cable first, and then when you've finished, you just line up a couple of arrows, which you will not be able to see on the camera. There's one there, look, little arrow. So you line the arrows up, put that on, line the arrows up, and then give it a twist. And there's a little metal clip there, look, that clips into place and holds it all together. And if you need to get back in there again, which you never will probably, you just push that little metal bit back in, and then you can rotate it anti-clockwise, and it pops off. So basically no tools required once you've bared back the wire. Very, very impressive. Have you seen those before? Because I hadn't seen those before. I thought they were very cool. Maybe one with slightly more money, I don't know, but very, very good and massive time saving. It obviously didn't reflect at all on the quote that the electricians gave us, but much quicker. Hang on a minute. Oh, my word. Mike Adams, howdy all. Late for class again, but I'm here, lol. Well done, Mike. Class. Classic. Welcome back into the workshop, Mike. And being late isn't a problem. Simon, $2.99 from a plug from Tool Station in the UK. Oh, my God. I'm going to have to order some from over there, I think. Jim K, power. Yes, we have power. Mrs. Mechanic was sandblasting all day yesterday. Poor lad. Well, not all day, because it took me a couple of hours to get set up and do all the wiring and stuff again. Because I've shortened the extension cables, because we're still running the air compressors in the workshop at the moment. I haven't done the sound deadening in the cabinet. I've not made the steel skid for the compressors to sit on. We're a long way off getting them outside, but we have the power. So cut down the extension leads, which was good because they're a pain in the ass because they're so long. And now we powered all the compressors from those three, the three big compressors from the three lines that the electricians have installed. There's a fourth line to come into the workshop to give me power for the MIG or whatever else big that I need to run in the workshop, like the plasma cutter, because I want to do a video on the plasma cutter, but obviously I need decent power to run it, otherwise it's not really very valid. So she was running the air compressors off the new power supply, and she actually said the sandblasting cabinet was actually working better than it's ever worked before. Obviously, there was a slight volt drop to the air compressors with the previous setup running the power from inside the house from 10 amp sockets. I mean, okay, they're a dual socket, right? So they can cope with 20 amps, 10 amps per plug. So there shouldn't have been a volt drop within the house wiring, but it's longer, isn't it? It goes from the fuse box to around the house and to the socket, and then down the extension lead, and then into the workshop, and then onto the air compressors. So it's a much shorter run now, and the cable that they put in from the fuse box to the subboard, they call it, was massive. It was. I should have got. In fact, next time he comes down, I'll get him to give me just a couple of inch length, and I'll show you how thick it is. But it's enough for. It was enough for 4 lines at 16 amps, whatever that works out to be. We also measured the air compressors, the 3 horsepower motors, and once the air compressors fired up and running, it's only drawing 8.5 amps. Perfect. It's the initial startup that draws the main current. And they all start at different times, which is great. They actually naturally cycle in and out, which is perfect. Daniel, make sure that when you install the windows that you make them true, plumb, and leveled, not to the existing structure, but by themselves. Yes, yeah, basically they sort of float in the hole, don't they, and you pack them out. I remember you telling me that when you did some other ones previously. Very good tip, because, all my windows would have been crooked. The Giant, the 16 amp plug is 116 Rand. Oh, 116 Rand in South Africa, which I think is much cheaper than by you, Andy. I'll have to Google that. Somebody can Google that for me. Rand into New Zealand dollars for me, please. Thanks for Giant. I think we're paying way over the odds for that kind of stuff. So I've only got one left. This is my spare one at the moment. So what I will do is I will order some tomorrow from the UK. I'll maybe get half a dozen or something from the UK, and maybe a couple of these sockets as well, because they're quite useful. And we'll see what they turn out, with taxes and freight and all that kind of stuff. See if there's much difference in price. Alexandra Fritters, no Hooters today. No Tool Girls on the live stream, unfortunately. Not today. It's a rarity when they are, to be honest. Simon, that may be why they cost so much. That's a Wago type connector. Oh, okay. Pete, $15.89 on Amazon in the USA. Yeah, $15. It's still cheaper in the UK, isn't it? A lot cheaper. Mike Adams, I get what steel I need for free. Well, you're a lucky chap. Via discarded bed rails, cheapest way I know to get angle iron. Now I just need to bite the bullet and buy a MIG welder. You do, otherwise your stock of angle iron is going to take over your entire property. You need to make stuff. We're doing some demolition to a couple of hotels so I can get plenty of angle. That's awesome. Peter Swatman about, oh, thank you, Peter. $11.50 New Zealand. Third the price. Holy moly. We have a pie, don't we? Okay, so when Ben went mountain biking with Mrs. Mechanic last week, because he was down, I think it was last week. I can't remember now. Whenever it was. Yeah, it was last week. He mentioned that he found a bakery in Taupo, and they do good pies. So when he went back into Taupo the next day with Mrs. Mechanic to do some cycling, I said, get me some pies, we'll put them in the freezers. So we got from Lamb's Pies, this is the, hang on, Paitiki Bakery at the top there, look, Lamb's Pies. It's a nice branded bag, by the way. And they only have two bakeries. One is on 199 Rifle Range Road in Taupo, and the other one is 30 Spa Road in Taupo. So they're only in Taupo. There's their contact details if you want them to send you some pies. I don't think they will, but anyway, there you go. Steak, cheese, and bacon. So, into the bag we go. Boom, boom, boom. I have had one of their pies before. I had the chicken and something or other. Chicken and vegetable it was. It was all right. You know, it wasn't great, but I'm not a huge chicken fan. There we go, look. Right. So, the pie is square. Look at that. So you get 3 corners. Okay, quick spin round. Dum, 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 dum. Oh, Mrs. Mechanic likes her new cooker, because the electricians did plumb the cooker up for us as well. And they'll be sending me a separate invoice for that. What the hell, lads, come on. It was 4 wires, and it took you 3 attempts to do the wiring, and you still haven't finished yet. I think you could probably waive that one. Anyway, there you go. Right, so the pie into, oh, look at that. I'll stick that back on again. Jeez. Into the pie warmer. Here we go. Oh, Daniel's in the way. Hang on. I've got to get rid of Daniel. He's on the thingy. Right. Turn you around. 3, 2, 1. Boom. Okay. Here we go. We'll get this in the pie warmer and we'll do a little walkabout while we're on. Look at that. Square pie. Pocket-sized pie. I don't know. Oh, no. Misfire. Right. There we go. Stick him in there. 23 minutes. Boom. Okay, so where should we start? Let's head over here. Oh, yes, Miss October. She definitely wanted red tape. Couldn't help myself. Had to put red tape on there. Otherwise, you two will get very upset. Probably still will get upset, actually, looking at that one. So there we go. Sheldon has been busy. It's all de-rusted now as the top. It was a bit like that. I do spray it with some, like, spray grease when I'm not using it, or some light oil or whatever I'm not kicking around. But you can't beat when it's in use. It gets nice and clean. And it's still the same bit, by the way. It's done thousands and thousands of countersinks as that now. And I use the Forge spray, which I'll be doing a video on that soon. I've actually got 2 bits from previous. One that I did about 260 odd holes, countersinks, without using any lubricants at all. And then I have another bit that's still in use, actually, which is done probably over 500 now, using the lubricant, and I'm going to put them under the microscope, and we're going to see how badly chipped the cutting face is. Anyway, because of that video, I've kept a few of these left to do in the video. All the rest now, these are the 450 kits. They're all countersinks and done. Did those yesterday. And if we go over this side, boom, 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 boom. Oh, Alan's bike's looking really grubby, by the way. Got all the dust on there. I'm going to put a cover over it, I think, because it's getting extremely dirty. But nothing in the gearbox, which is the important thing. Oh, and I took the chain off because I couldn't push it around. Stupid gearbox, honestly. Take everything out of the gearbox and it's jammed up. So, 700 plates are currently getting sandblasted. This is what Mrs. Mechanic managed yesterday. That is 1 day's work. There's 25 plates there. 50 sides. That is probably about 5 hours. Oh, she was doing 5 an hour. So there you go, 5 hours work to get those done. It came out very, very well. Very happy with that, very even. So they're all ready for paint now. They are countersunk, by the way, on that side. There you go, look, all countersunk up and ready to go. Sorry, that was very loud for you all, wasn't it? I'll wake you up. And then all the fixtures and fasteners and bits and pieces for both kits are all done. They're just ready for tumbling in the cement mixer, and then they're ready for painting as well. So we are making headway. It's pretty good. Very happy with those. And if I could easily now, with the setup we've got in the mill, I can easily get a whole batch done in one day for countersinks. I just didn't finish it deliberately because I wanted to keep a few for the video as well. What else are we going to look at? Oh, you want to see inside the sandblasting cabinet, don't you? There you go, look. Man, it's looking pretty old in there now. It's done a lot of work as this cabinet now. It really has. Top piece of kit though. Got it all dialed in, working very well. And my forge clock has stopped working again. What the hell, Jared? I keep putting batteries in it and it keeps deciding it's just always... I mean, it's right twice a day, yeah? But I mean, it's not much use, is it really? As it is. So I'll have to work that one out. Mr. Ratty's doing very well. He's sat up there, look. Top of the mill, keeping me company when I'm doing my countersinks. Right, back to the bench. Time for another cigarette, I think. Okay, turn you around. Oh, socket. That's what we're doing. Socket. Okay. I knew there was something else. Okay, so I was thinking, and I mean, this isn't fixed, right? We can still change this, so you can help me on this one. This is the main workbench for fabrication, welding, plasma cutting, drill, you know, whatever I do. Most of it's on this workbench. This one is normally full of crap, other than using the pillar drill, so, you know, it doesn't really get much use. I've even taken the vise off it. The vise is hiding down there somewhere. And that bench over here, I use the vise on here a lot, mainly when I'm doing tapping, because I do a lot of tapping of M8s and M6s and stuff. But again, it's not really used as a workbench most of the time. It's more used when I'm using the mill to put things on, basically. So, you know, it's not really used as a fabrication bench in itself per se. Used to do a lot of the videos from that bench, but now present from the end of this bench where I'm sat now. I need to locate this socket, basically. And the original plan was, hang on, to mount it up there like that. And the electrician goes, no, you can't do that. That's against code. It has to sit vertically. Hang on, I need to move it around. It has to sit like that. That's the law. Otherwise, you'd be in trouble. So I said, fair enough. I'll make a bracket and you can mount it off that. Now, I've got to consider where the cable runs, you know, and is it going to get in the way? My original plan was to maybe mount it up there or even have it mounted up here somewhere. And I'm thinking, hang on a minute, if I have a cable dangling down here in front of the bench, it's going to get really annoying. And the same would apply as well. If it's at the back of the bench, there's a good chance it might get damaged, you know, by work pieces and hot stuff on the bench. So I need to offset the cable to one side. And it's, you know, and plus, you know, I get more cable for my money because they didn't actually measure this one. So they actually bring it all the way down and it'll be running conduit and stuff up to the beam. But it means I can run the air compressor off that socket for the time being. One less extension lead. But if I just back off a little bit, would you do things differently? Would you put it there or would you put it on this side? You see, I normally have the welder. See, the welder's based down there, look. There's the MIG, which is big and heavy. And I normally have that on this side of the bench or sometimes in front of the bench. It's actually on an umbilical cord at the moment, an umbilical cable. If I pull it out, see there, look, we've got a massive cable. So all that's going to get changed at some point because it doesn't really go outside anyway. And now we have 16 amp sockets outside as well. It doesn't need that long cable. Cut the cable down, and of course the MIG's more powerful. So, do you think that's a good place for it? If it's not, tell me where you'd put it. Help me. Right, turn you around. 3, 2, 1, boom. There we go, look. So yeah, it's always difficult planning what you're going to do in a workshop, where you're going to put things. Of course it can be moved, you know, it's not the end of the world. That's the initial start point, and even I can move it, you know. Once the lads have signed it off as compliant and turned a blind eye to the rest of the work, man, honestly, every electrician that comes into this workshop just looks around going, what the hell, you know? They're amazed. But I explained to them why all the lights are on separate plugs, because I need to move them around and take them down and fix them. It's just easier than having them hardwired. Like, sensible, you know. So there you go. And I'm not the only one that does it. There are other people that put plugs on their lighting and then they couldn't take them down. Anyway, where did we get to? I've been ignoring the comments for a while. Oh, geez. Right, angle iron, $11.50. The Giants, thank you, Peter. Daniel Beddle. Oh, what's the video like? It looks pretty good at this end. What's the quality like? Daniel, what would it cost for you guys to have a hot water heater over there, Andy? I'm just curious. What I mean is, what do they cost over there, used like new and brand new, right from the store? I have no idea. I have never purchased a hot water cylinder. I've never had to replace one. I mean, this is the only house that I've ever purchased, and it has still got the very inefficient, very, very old hot water cylinder in it. But it does the job. You know, it makes hot water. Although it did run cold last night because Mrs. Mechanic had a long shower. Didn't you, Mrs. Mechanic? Anyway, such is life. Last 10 seconds of freezing cold. So I don't know. I just don't know. I can maybe ask the lads when they come down to finish the wiring off and put the last socket in. We'll wait and see. Kill Switch BB. Ooh, late to the party, but I made it, lol. Hi, guys. Good morning, Kill Switch. Welcome back, sir. UK Mechanic, Pete. $15.89 is £14.25 UK pound, and £3.85 is $7.68 New Zealand. Wow, that was a bit of a mouthful, wasn't it? Right, thank you, sir. Appreciate that. $7.68 sounds very good. A lot cheaper than what I was paying. Mike Adams, can you get a Philly cheese steak pie? I've never seen one of those. I'm guessing it'll be quite tasty. I'm sure it'll be very tasty, in fact. Pete, need to vacuum the mill. Yes, I do. You want to see all the swarf that's on the ground. It really does need a good clean, but there's no point in cleaning it at the moment because I've still got some more plates to do. And there will be, I think, if I get it authorized, there'll be another batch of 450s to do before the end of the year. So it will get a clean. It'll get a clean. But at the moment, it's in use. So I clean it, and then within 10 minutes, it'll be covered in swarf again. So it is what it is. Thanks, Pete. Simon, 4 wires on the cooker. Are you 110 volt or 240 volt in high demand applications? No, we only have 240 volt here in New Zealand, or 250 volt, whatever we'll call it. Don't know why the cooker has 4 wires. I'll ask the lads when they come down because it baffled the crap out of me to that. Hence why I let them do it. And it did say in the instruction book that if you did it yourself and it blew up, there was no warranty. So I thought, well, it was quite an expensive cooker, so maybe it's worth, $50 for them to wire it up. Took them like 8 minutes to do, so I'll be expecting 10 minutes of labor, not an hour. We'll see. We'll probably be a minimum charge. They can't charge me a call out because they're already here, but they're very happy to help. Of course they were getting paid. Daniel, well, you said that you have 2 bits. I'm wondering about the shave and the haircut parts as well, lol. What? I am not having a haircut. I like my ponytail. Thank you very much. It causes a lot of comments in the office, I must admit. Now then, Mike, when I see the Triumph, it makes me think of the Triumph Trophy TR5. That Fonzie rode on Happy Days TV show. It's currently being restored. Very cool. I liked his old bike. I didn't know what it was because I was only a kid at the time, but it's good that they've saved it. That's cool. The Giant, can I use engine oil as a lube for tapping thread? You can. There's a lot of. It does work. In theory, it shouldn't work because the whole idea of engine oil is to keep metal components separate, to keep the surfaces apart, to create a film of oil to lubricate, to prevent wear. But it does work. I did it for years. WD-40 is pretty good for that kind of stuff if you've not got anything else. But I must admit, since I've switched to that Forge spray, and I'm not saying this because it's Forge, I'm saying it because it actually works really well. It's actually pretty handy. And it doesn't take very long. Once you get into the swing of it, to spray, I usually spray, you'll see it in the video, but I spray 2 holes, countersink 2 holes, clean off the top of the mill, because it's the height of the plate on the bed of the mill is absolutely critical. If you get a little bit of swarf trapped between the plate and the bed, the machine surface, then of course the plate sits a bit higher on the bed, and of course your countersink ends up being a bit too deep. So it's critical that you clean it off. That's why I've got the brush there. Do a couple of holes, and sometimes I just do 1 hole and go, oh, that doesn't feel quite right. Pull the plate out of the way, and sure enough, there's a little bit of swarf sat there. So flick, off he goes. Hence why there's so much swarf on the floor. But got it down to a T. I check every single countersink hole for quality control purposes. That's why I've got a bolt, a countersink bolt on the bench. And this particular batch has gone extremely well. They're all, there's none that are too deep. They're all absolutely bang on. Saying that, I've still got about, I don't know, 10 plates still to go, so still a chance for me to make a mistake. Where do we get to? Oh my word. Hang on, let's scroll back. You guys are busy. There we go. So hopefully VJ that explains things. You can, but it's not the best. It isn't. It works, and if you're just doing 1 or 2, it's not a problem. But if you're doing a lot, it's important you have the right stuff. And it will make a huge difference to how long your drill bit lasts for, or your tap, for that matter. Incidentally, I do all the taps now using the Makita brushless drill. I don't tap them by hand. That would take days, and my arm would fall off. I was never really a fan of doing power tapping, but it's fine. It's actually not a problem. Jim, Mr. Haynes, I'm late, but here now, and did hit the like button as always. Thank you, Jim. I appreciate that. That'd be a good example to everybody else watching. We've got 31 viewers and only 15 likes. So either you're here just to suffer, or if you're enjoying it, hit the like button. Why not? Mike Adams, it's the Triumph Road was a 1949 model. Wow. Peter Swatman. Anything can be used for lubricant for threading, but a cutting fluid or paste is better. Try Rocol tapping paste. I've got something over here. Hang on. You might see it on the shelf. There you go, look. So if I'm on the lathe, metal cutting compound, that's what I use on the lathe for some stuff. Don't always use it. You can actually use it for drilling as well. Look, it's got a little picture of a guy drilling a hole. I never used it for drilling, actually. Would be a good comparison. Apply directly to cutting tool or workpiece. Use only as directed. Well, there you go. This will last me forever. I only use a little bit every now and again, and it's quite a large tub. But it's good stuff. It is. But the aerosol can from Forge is a lot quicker. That's the benefit. And when I'm tapping, I spray a lot into an aerosol cap, one that hasn't got a hole in it. Sit it about 45 degrees on the bench, and I can just dip the tap in it each time I'm tapping a hole. Super quick. I did like 400 M8 taps in about 90 minutes. Took me to do them. Just smashed them out. When you get into the swing of things, it's pretty good. Yeah, then where we get to? Oh, Pete Woodfine. Hey, Andy and crew, say I'm late. What's that? Sorry, I'm late to Gad. Oh, you had a late meal. There you go. Right, okay, so I'm going to sort of try and decipher it. 56, Crown Vic. Hello, Andy. Good morning. 56, Crown Vic. Daniel Beddle. I guess you didn't get the joke. Shave and a haircut, 2 bits. I didn't get it. Sorry, Daniel. I didn't get it now. Still don't get it. Shave and a haircut. I've had a trim. But anyway. You'll be shaking your head at me now. Pete Woodfine. Had a late meal. There we go. Predictive text. messing me around. Yeah, I know the feeling. Have you ever sent a text and it's changed the word and you've only realized after you've sent the text and the word is a word that you absolutely shouldn't have used? It's like, oh, that's not what I meant at all. How do I dig myself out of that hole? You know, blame predictive text. Why not? I think I've caught up. I have caught up. So the pie shouldn't be too far away. What else have we been doing this week? Well, I think it was Tuesday the electricians came down. Pretty sure it was. Wednesday, or was it Wednesday? I can't remember now. Anyway, I went up to Auckland Thursday morning, pouring rain. Took the little trailer with me, just because I had a bike to pick up, and ended up on my way up to Auckland. I got a phone call. Hilarious. You'll like this. We have a trailer at work. They call it the Chariot trailer because it's got like a bit at the front, like a Chariot does, and it's for transporting motorcycles. It's pretty old, and in all honesty, I hate it. It's badly made. The chassis on it is woefully too small. It flexes to the chassis. It's got some panels that are pop rivets to the sides, and the pop rivets are always blowing because of all the flex. It's just wrong. It wants cutting up and scrapping. It's that bad. Anyway, one of the lads had two quite large motorcycles on the trailer and was reversing out of his driveway at home with it. And for whatever reason, and I didn't question why, he ended up having to try and reverse up a curb. Well, that didn't do it any good at all. Because of the weight in the trailer, it probably would have got away with it being empty, but still bad practice because the curb was about 4 to 5 inches high. And it was a head-on reverse. He was straight up. It wasn't even one wheel at a time. It was both wheels together. Ended up, both leaf springs got damaged. Well, in fact, one leaf spring got really badly damaged and snapped. The main leaf on it snapped forward of the axle. And it was badly bent as well. So clearly, the tyre didn't go up the curb. It acted as an anchor, and the force from the vehicle just destroyed the spring. The other spring would have deformed, but it did flex back. It didn't actually snap. And I got called out to go and have a look at it and see if because it was immobile at the side of the road. He'd already taken the bikes off. And another lad had got there before I did, because I was still dropping my trailer off at work and doing some stuff there. And he brought me the damaged spring, which was really good. He took it off for me, brought it into work, and I spent the afternoon trying to find replacements. Couldn't actually get what I really wanted for the trailer as regards load rating, but we had to fix the trailer that day because it was essentially blocking the road a little bit. So I went to Trojan, not the condom factory, they actually make springs and stuff as well for trailers. Different company, just to clarify. And they managed to sort us out with something that would do the trick with some new U-bolts and bits and pieces, and then spent Thursday late afternoon, evening swapping the springs out and getting the trailer fixed. And then it went over to Napier the next day. Near Napier, Taronga it went to. And it turned out, when I was inspecting the broken spring, where the fracture point was across the main leaf, most of the fracture was rusted, which is a clear indication that it was already broken and it was just hanging in there. It was an absolute godsend, really, that he did reverse against the curb, because it could easily have broken, especially with the load that it had on, it could easily have broken that spring on the journey the following morning. And as a result, because it's the main leaf and it's forward of the axle then moves back, and there's not a lot of room in the wheel arch for the tyres. It's pretty, again, that's another problem with the trailer. And the tyre would have jammed against the wheel arch, and it probably would have caused the trailer to skid across the road a bit, and it would have affected the handling. It could have caused an accident. So it actually was pure luck that he did reverse into the curb and the spring finally failed there, and not whilst the trailer was actually on the motorway. So good job. But we got it all fixed up, and no problems at all. It's done. But I have voiced my opinion that the trailer has to go. It's not to standard. More power than a burnt pie. Hang on, where do we get to? John Nuttall, more power than a burnt pie. Okay, so the new power supply is completely independent to the current power supply for the workshop. It's an addition to, and we've decided to do that because it's easier, in all honesty. Oh, there's the pie, probably is burnt. So the box that we've got in the workshop, the distribution box here, is the original power supply into the workshop. All I did was, put a distribution box there, a sub box, sub panel they call it, here, and that now just runs, the lights and battery chargers and just light duty stuff, hand power tools, all of which it's well on top of the job for doing. It just can't run the big stuff like the MIG and the air compressors and things. It can run the small air compressor in the other shed, my daily compressor. But anything more than that, it gets a bit iffy. So we've got a totally separate power supply now for the big stuff, which is all that I really needed. And bearing in mind that cost just shy of $5,000 to get put in, I'm pleased that we didn't do anything else because I couldn't afford it, to be honest. It was a bit of a shock. Hadn't actually budgeted that much for it, in all honesty. It was way more than I thought it was going to be. We'll give the pie 2 minutes, then we'll go and get it. Pete. Unfortunately, yes, to someone who was my boss at the time. Hang on a minute. Oh, with the text. Ooh, that's not good, is it? No, it's that sinking feeling when you reread the text and you go, oh no. Mike Adams, you're right, Andy. Every lubricant is formulated for a specific application, even though they will get used for everything else. Yes, one of the biggest problems, a mixed match of lubricant that I've come across that causes the biggest problem is when you're assembling calipers. And I've had a discussion about this with Simon, and I actually did a little study with my students at Unitech. We had a free morning, or maybe a free hour or something in the workshop. They'd rebuilt all the calipers, and I gave them a little task. And there was, I think, 6 pairs of students, so maybe a dozen students in the workshop. So I said, right, put yourselves into teams of 2, grab a caliper, pull it apart, clean the main seal and the dust seal, and then each team reassembled using a different lubricant that was kicking around the workshop. In fact, one of the teams, I think I even said to just use water. I know you wouldn't ever use water in a normal application, but what we were doing is to see how the use of an incorrect lubricant or a different lubricant affected piston retraction, and then we graphed the results, and it was mind-blowing, the differences. I only ever use the brake fluid that the caliper is designed to work with when I'm assembling calipers, and then that way I've never had any problems, and piston retraction is always the correct amount. It's not too much, otherwise you get too much pedal travel, and not too little, otherwise the brake pads rub on the discs. So always seems to be good if you just use brake fluid. But that's just me. I mean, some people would say, no, you shouldn't do that. You should use rubber grease or whatever it is, or the grease that comes with the new seals. I never use the grease that comes with the seals, ever. I always find that I think we get too much piston retraction when we use that from memory. But it just doesn't work. It's not right. So if I ever buy a brand new caliper, I always strip it and then clean up the seals and reassemble it using brake fluid. That's just the way I am. Daniel, here in the US, it's called autocorrect. I hate it when my phone does that. You can turn it off. It'd be a good idea. Pete Woodfine. The message should have said, thanks, you're a gent. Oh, okay, I think I can almost imagine what it said. Jim K, nice people down in Napier. They are very nice people. Simon Raw, sounds like you need to use that trailer on a day and let it roll down a hill into a deep lake. Yes, that's a very good idea. I think, unfortunately, because of the opinions that I've already voiced, they might suss something out. Might think, oh, maybe Andy's done that deliberately, which would be bad, obviously. But they have tasked me with trying to find an alternative, a new alternative trailer that will meet my criteria. So they've given me that task. So maybe I'll have time to do that someday. Daniel, pie time. I sent you a message on Facebook. Jeez, busy on Facebook today. Hang on a minute, what we got? Oh, you scar. Right, I don't know if you remember or not, but Daniel had quite a nasty injury when one of the, you know, the big springs on the up and over garage doors, well, one of those, the mount broke free from the wall and it hit him right between the eyes. It was quite a nasty injury. It seemed to have healed up pretty well. The girls out there will really like that. They like scars, don't they? Jeez. Well, it seems to have healed up pretty well, mate. You are incredibly lucky that it didn't get you in your eye, to be honest. Got a nice scar on top of my bridge of my nose now. You have. Yes, looks like you've gone 3 rounds with Mike Tyson, doesn't that? The Jane Governor. Thank you, Andy and Peter. The cutting paste is 285 rands for 500 grams. Tin, what is the price of Yucca? This stuff, this is really expensive. I think from memory, this is a 500 gram tin. This was about $50 odd New Zealand. If they'd done a smaller tin, I'd have bought a smaller tin, but they didn't have any in stock. So, and whether they make a smaller tin, I've no idea, but they probably do. But that's the one I ended up with, and it will last me forever. I'm sure it will. Daniel, follow-up, so to speak. Thank you, Daniel. Pete Swatman, £20-ish. What's £20? What's £20? Where is he? £20-ish. I don't know. I've forgotten. Where is he? Can't find it now. I don't know. Okay, you guys work that one out. Simon, all the bike manuals do say use brake fluid. There you go. Thank you. Vindicated as always. Right. Get rid of Daniel again because he's got a little icon. Okay, turn you around. I'll get the pie. I am hungry. 3, 2, 1. Boom. Oh, the rocal. £20. That's probably about right then, isn't it? £20, $50. Exchange rate 2.5-ish. Yes. Okay. 20 quid's all right, isn't it? If I was in England, I wouldn't think I wouldn't buy that either at £20. Right. Oh, it looks golden brown. It looks perfect. Well done, pie machine. That is absolutely bang on. Okay, to the bench. We'll stick it on top of the fern. It's about the cleanest place we have in the workshop at the moment. There we go. Now, it does feel incredibly hot. Hang on. There we go. I like to use the spirit level as a framing for the camera. I think it gets about right. Okay, so where are we at? So we've got cold coffee. We've got a bench full of stuff. Get rid of those. Okay, got my pen open. Now, for those that have joined us recently, this pie is from Lamb's Pies. Now, they're based in Taupo. They've got 2 stores, both in Taupo. One is 199 Rifle Range Road, and the other one is 30 Spa Road. Now, I've not had one of their pies until very recently. Mrs. Mechanic went cycling with Ben, and Ben knew of this particular pie shop. He'd already bought pies from there. So I said to Mrs. Mechanic, go and buy me a few. We'll put them in the freezer, and we'll work our way through these, over the next few weeks, months, whatever. I'll try and mix it up with other brands of pie as well. We won't just stick with Lamb's Pies for the next 6 weeks or whatever. Yeah, it should be good. This is a steak, cheese, and bacon. So it's got the magic word bacon in there. It should be extremely good. We will find out. They also say, they claim on the packaging, bear with me, Bakel's New Zealand award-winning pies. Look at that. So that's a big claim to make. It is nice to see that they've actually, even though it's just a paper bag, which is traditional for New Zealand pie shops to sell their pies in, they've actually had it branded. They've actually had some printing done, and they've only got 2 stores. So that's they're obviously very proud of their pies. I like that, Okay, so a quick spin round the pie. Let's see how we get on. See what we can see. Can we see any structural failures going on? Any potential pie catastrophes? What's going on in that corner there? Look, it's just the pastry is quite brittle around there. It's just breaking off. Okay, the lid, the top, is golden brown. It looks perfect, doesn't it? And there's some little perforations. I think you can see those are not where they've put like a fork in the lid just to release pressure during cooking. Flaky pastry. And the underside, pretty much perfect. we've got this, potentially this corner here is a bit iffy. So we'll start with that. What's the lid like as regards bonding? It looks like, oh, we've got a slight failure there on the lid for the bonding there, but it does feel pretty good. So I'm not going to tease it too much, but we will start on this particular corner. Going in. Pretty hot. Oh. Okay. We've had one bite so far, and instantly it's affected the structure a little bit. We've got movement, so I've got to be a little bit careful. We've got a crack developing across the base. If you can see that or not there. We've got a crack just coming down here as well. So be very careful with this pie. Although it tastes pretty damn good. Not tasted the bacon yet, so it's going to only get better. Now, where do we get to? Cheers, Peter. Thank you for the £20. I had no idea what the cost was in the UK. I don't think I've ever bought in the UK, to be honest. Vijay, thank you, Peter. Simon, though I've been using silicone PTFE grease for the slide pins. Very good. I use that Forge. Well, actually, you'll laugh at this. For the ROVs that work on the beach, I've been using, believe it or not, rubber grease, because they don't get hot. They don't do any kind of mileage. They only do 1,000 Ks a year maximum, and it's always very short journeys, and they're driving on sand, so they very rarely actually use the brakes. The sand's quite soft normally, so when they come off the throttle, the vehicle naturally slows down pretty quick because they have engine braking as well, and the rolling resistance in the sand. They stop within a couple of feet. You know, it's pretty good. And I found it works really well. It doesn't gum up. It doesn't get sticky and hold the brakes on. Wouldn't use that in a normal road application, but for their particular use, works very well. Wow, look at that. Huge chunk of meat there, look. Very nice. This could be a good pie. Okay, taste, stroke, flavor, contents. That was really yummy. I like that. I'm going to give it a 9. I think we've still had better, so I can't give it a 10. But it's very, very good. Structure fully partless. The workbench is already covered in probably about a dozen pieces of flaky pastry, and there's some more on the floor as well. So it's not one for in your car, I don't think. Not unless you can eat it out of the bag. That was a huge chunk of meat. It was really good. As regards meat quality, which is just the third one down, the meat tasted more like a braising steak than it did real steak, but still extremely tasty, saying that. So I'm going to give them, for the meat quality, we can score that now because that was really good. I'm going to give them geez, do I give them a 9 again? I'm going to give them a 9. That was really good. Very, very tasty meat. Oh. Wow. Hot. Steam. Look at that. Okay, there was a hole there. That was one massive chunk of meat that came out. So, second or third bite in, second big chunk of meat. Very, very good. And equally as tasty. Now, I think we'll leave the structure fully partless for a bit. We're a bit early in for that. Runability test. Okay, 45 degrees for 30 seconds max. Let's see what happens. I don't know. It might start to flow. I'm watching this bit here, look. Is it moving? Oh, it's hanging in there, isn't it? It's doing all right. It's good. I think there is a very small amount of movement, but it's pretty good. I'm going to give it a 9. We'll give it a 9 for that. Structure, so yeah, runability 9 because it doesn't run. It's good. Okay, we've done meat quality. Pie to, this is the pastry to filling ratio coming up. Extremely thin base. Look at that. It's doing a great job, actually. I mean, you can understand why it's sagging a bit, but it hasn't failed. And it's only maybe a couple of mil thick. The lid, again, is extremely thin all the way around. I think, realistically, it's probably one of the thinnest pies we've ever had on the pastry, which means the vast majority of this pie is filling, which is what you want. And the structure is just sort of hanging in there. I think any thinner, it would fail. It's good. Good pie. So, pie to crust ratio. It's going to get a high score. It's going to get a very high score. I'm going to give it a 10. I don't think you could get a pie any better than this on minimum pastry levels. Obviously, pastry is very expensive in Taupo. Now, availability logistics. You can only buy these pies from these two stores. They're in Taupo. They don't exist anywhere else. Yeah, I don't think you can buy them online. They don't offer an online purchase service. They're not available through supermarkets. I'm going to give them 2 out of 10 because they've got two stores. I think that's fair. I can't give them 1 like I would do if it was a single store, but they've got 2 stores. I'll give them a 2. But that's all they're going to get, because if you want one of their pies, you've got to go to Taupo. It's as simple as that. Even the gravy tastes nice. Right, pastry taste rating. So this is just the pastry now. See what I can steal off it. There we are, look. Okay, just pastry. Sort of crunchy, but not over dry. That's pretty tasty. No weird aftertastes at all. That's good. I like that. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of the flaky pastry stuff, but that actually was pretty tasty. I'm going to give them, I hate to say it, I'm going to give them a 9. That was actually really good pastry. We've had some pretty bad pastries recently. Right, going in for another bite. Look at that. There's a bit of bacon just there, look. Bacon. Can't go wrong. Can't go wrong at all with this pie. I would definitely have one of these pies again. In fact, I think what I'll do is I'll get Mrs. Mechanic to stock up the freezer with some of these, of this particular flavour, steak, cheese and bacon, because it's actually really good. Really good. Packaging design. So, it's a paper bag. Yeah, okay, but they've spent some time making a nice picture. I think actually the picture on there, I think that's, you know, straight from clip art off Google, to be honest. Looks that way anyway. But hey, they made the effort. It's sort of reasonably appealing, isn't it? It's pretty good for a you know, standalone bakery. You know, they're not a big factory or anything like that. They don't make thousands of pies. I'm going to give them, I think, I mean, it doesn't give them any, it's only a generic bag. There's no contents, because obviously they use the same bag for every pie. They just print on the front the different contents. So I'm going to give them for that, I'm going to give them a 7. I think a 7 is a pretty good score for that. I hope you're following along. If you disagree and you think it should be a lot less, let me know. When we get to the comments, hang on. Oh, Anti-Mosh. Morning, Andy. Homemade lamb kebab here. Ooh, golly. Sounds nice. Mike Adams, don't you love it when no matter the project, everything is going smooth and timely? Oh, pardon me. First burp. Until your butterfingers drop a specific fastener that leaves you looking for it for hours. It's horrific. We used to have a shed. One of the workshops in the UK had a wooden floor, a wooden plank floor. And in the summertime, the planks would shrink as they would dry out, and you get these about a 5mm gap between each plank. There were actually scaffolding boards from memory. And sure enough, if you drop something on the floor, 99.9% of the time, it would go through the gap and not land on the wood. or it'd hit the wood and then slowly roll across and plink down the hole. And what we had to do was send Ben, because he was only small back then, send him under the shed because it was on like stilts. It was on like wooden blocks and stuff. And he was the only one that could, well, the girls wouldn't go under there because it's full of spiders. But we'd sort of shove Ben under and push him under with a torch. Go and find this, Ben. And sure enough, he used to shout and scream sometimes, but, you know, you can come out once you've found it. Seemed to work pretty well. Currently, yeah, I'm sure he's traumatized from the experience, but got the job done, didn't it? Right. So, recyclable score. I believe, have a little look. With it being a paper bag, the only thing that could stop it being recyclable is having a plastic liner, and it doesn't have a plastic liner. There's no shininess in there. That is just paper. Hang on, I'm going to just tear it a little bit. Yeah, it's just paper. There's no plastic liner in there. Just a standard printed paper bag. Now, they don't tell us it's recyclable, so they're only going to get a 9. But it's recyclable, which is good. Post heartburn factor, I've already had one burp, but maybe that was just because it was so tasty. I don't know. Anyway, we'll bear that in mind. Stick to the standard scores. Right, structure foley partners, quick check. It actually, now that we've sort of honed it down to just under a half the size of the pie, it's extremely stable. Other than a bit of puff pastry falling off, it's actually really good. I definitely wouldn't want to eat this in the car. I've got bits of pastry all over the place. We need to bear that in mind on the final score. And that will come under the structure foley partners. One more. I can't see any cheese, but I can taste the cheese. Definitely cheese in there. And the cheese doesn't taste like that cheap, nasty processed stuff. It actually tastes like real cheese. And it's very tasty as well. It certainly adds to the flavors in the pie. And there's a lot of bacon. If you look across the middle, all of that up there is bits of bacon. I mean, okay, it's not great slabs of bacon. It's just little pieces. But they're not little tiny fragments. They're probably about 5 mil square in surface area. They're not bad. Another big chunk of meat. Wow. It's good. Really good. Nom, 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 nom. So, structure foley partners. It's going to lose marks because of all the flaky pastry. But other than that, it's done pretty well, in all honesty. I'm going to give it a 7. I think 7's fair. It's going to lose a couple of points because of all the flaky pastry stuff, and there was a bit of a lift on the lid at the start. But the rest of it, pretty good. Still tasty when cold. It's not cold yet. Would I eat it cold? Most definitely would eat this pie cold, without a shadow of a doubt. If it had been in the glove box for a couple of days, I would still definitely eat this pie. No question. Pie server attractiveness. Now, Mrs. Mechanic bought this. So let me just see if I can give her a call. Hang on. Dum, 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 dum. Let's find out if she answers the phone or not. She might not. Wait for it. Is my volume down? What's going on? Come on. Ring, ring. You can do it. There we go. It's finally working. Let's find out what the pie server attractiveness is.
Yes.
Oh, hello there. Morning, Mrs. Mechanic. Now, when you purchased this pie, amongst many other pies from the bakery in Taupo when you were out with Ben, could you give me a score, please, or a quick description and then a score of the pie server? I need a score
Not
for the...
doing the script. You're just getting a score. You can have 6.
Is that 6?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, we got a 6. Thank you very much. Appreciate that, darling. Could I have another coffee, please?
No. Bye.
Bye. Ooh, I'm in trouble, I think. Right, so we got 6 for pie server attractiveness. Very good. Oh, we've lost internet on my laptop. Hang on. me making that phone call, because the laptop is connected to my mobile phone for internet. Me making that phone call has killed the internet. So you'll have to bear with me a minute. It's still on hotspot. Okay, let me do that. It might come back. In fact, I'm going to turn the Wi-Fi off and turn it back on again. Isn't that what the IT guys say? Turn it off and back on again? There we go. Right. Come on, internet. You can do it. Okay. I really like this pie. Look at that. Another big chunk of meat. Absolutely bang on. Okay, so is it going to be tasty when it's cold? I think the combination of a bit of bacon in there, the cheese, which is really tasty, and that really good quality meat, the big chunks of meat in there, it would be very tasty. Yes, I'm going to give it a 9. I think this pie will be excellent cold. I mean, obviously better hot, for sure, but still, as a cold pie, not bad at all. Post-pie heartburn factor. We've had 1 burp. I can't feel any more coming along, so I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. These are some big scores going down here, people. Right, we're on the last piece. I'm going to eat this, and then we'll score the last one, the stuffability score. Wow, that was good. I'm going to restart my phone. It won't affect you guys. It's just going to affect my laptop. So, am I still hungry? No, I'm not. That was a pleasure to eat. It was enough to fill me up. Not enough to make me bloated and lethargic and not want to do any work, which some pies do. You know what I mean? Like if you have too many bacon sandwiches, you can't work. Unless you bake egg sandwiches, they're nice. So, stuffability score. I don't think we could get much of a better score, really. I mean, 8, 9. You know, I think the way we have to score these, and I think maybe I've scored a few, maybe incorrectly in the past, but if it hits the nail on the head, it should be a 10 out of 10, right? If you're still hungry or you're over full, the score should come down. That's the way I should be scoring this. I think, hang on, phone's rebooted, just bear with me, turn on the hotspot. Boom, 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 boom. Connect. Okay, we should be back in action shortly. Oh, another burp. Right. Yeah, it was the same one. It finally came out. So, that's now an 8. I'm going to give it 10. I'm going to give it 10 out of 10 for stuffability. I think it was just the right size. It ticked all the boxes for me. It really did. Okay. Whilst my laptop is still trying to, I'm just going to redo that one actually. See if that works. Oh, I don't want any more soap. I get all my soap free from the hotels. Go away. We're on. Okay. Right, we've got some scores to add up, but very quickly I'm just going to run through the comments and then we'll do the scores. Mike Adams, there we go. Daniel, how do you guys rate your brake fluids here in the USA? We have DOT 3, 4, 5 and 6. DOT means Department of Transportation, and some vehicles require specific brake fluid for their systems. They absolutely do, and the one that catches people out from memory is DOT 5 is a silicon, whereas DOT 5.1 is the higher rating glycol-based brake fluid, which is the same as DOT 3, DOT 4, but just a higher boiling point, higher spec fluid. Not sure what DOT 6 is, never heard of that, but 3, 4 and 5.1 are basically your grades of what I would call normal brake fluid. There's also a mineral brake fluid out there as well, which I think they just call it mineral. It's not on a DOT scale. Maybe Simon can help out a little bit there, but I'm pretty sure that 5.1, it's an odd scale. They obviously messed up because they obviously only had .3 and .4 for many years, and then they used .5 for the silicon-based brake fluid, like for your Harleys and stuff. And then they brought out a higher grade glycol-based brake fluid, and thought, oh, we've already used 5, we'll have to call it 5.1. And that really messes with tech's heads. Anyway, right. Got the internet back. Live stream's carrying on. Let's add up these scores, I think. We'll come back to the rest of those comments shortly. Turn you around, 3, 2, 1, boom. Okay, here we go. I wonder if Mrs. Mechanic's going to make me a new coffee. I don't know. She might not. She seems a bit tired. Or maybe she's just grumpy because she's going to be doing some more sandblasting today. Okay, this could be a lot of numbers to add up. 16, 25, 34, 44, 46, 55, 64, 71, 80, 88, 98, oh my word, 98, 104, 104. Wow, 3-figure number. Bloody good pie. I'm very, very impressed by that one. Okay, so it's a lamb's pie. And it's a steak, cheese, and bacon. Now, I don't know what weight the pie was. It doesn't tell us on the bag, unfortunately, but it's probably about 190 grams, I would say. A bit smaller than the average. And they get, so it's very, I'm going to put a star, very tasty. And it gets 104. Wow. Can't wait to get this one on the leaderboard. Okay, let's go for a wander and take our magnetic strip with us. 104. You're going to focus on the strip, Fern? Oh, yeah. Wait, it's all over the place, isn't it? 104. Bum, 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 bum. 104. Oh, we've already got a space for it, look. Sorry, Eric, we're going to cover you up. I'm going to have to move these again. I can't have Eric's sticker hidden. Look at that. So, the highest scoring steak, cheese and bacon pie we have ever done, and only 2 points off the top. That is a very, very good pie, and it may well be my go-to pie when I'm at home, but it has only just pipped the gourmet steak and cheese by 1. Who would have thought? Wild Bean Cafe, you need to raise your game. There's a new leader in town. Wow. Oh dear. Right, turning around, 3, 2, 1, boom. I'm still recovering a little bit from the, up in there. Hang on, let's get you sorted out. I'm still recovering a little bit from that flu that I had in the South Island. And I sort of re-entered the snot stage. It's just starting again. I can feel it dribbling down my throat. Not a very nice picture for you to you know, paint in your own head. But just for reference and get it recorded. And I was getting a bit worried yesterday morning when I woke up. I started to get quite a pain on this left-hand side of my throat. A pain that I've never had before, ever. And it's only on one side. And it was more when I swallow. Mrs. Mechanic today, stop whinging. It's just your gland. Your gland is up. You've had a cold. It's your gland. So I'm thinking, well, fair enough. Whatever that means, I don't know. You know. But, oh, hang on, before we do that, we just give them one more shout out because I think they deserve it. So, the best steak, cheese and bacon pie I have ever tasted. Very, very good. Who would have thought? I wasn't even prepared for that this morning. That was really, really good. I mean, obviously, consistency, quality control now plays a huge part moving forward. Is the next one I have going to be as good? Oh, yes, in the bin. I don't know. Time will tell, and I'll give you some feedback because they're pretty local to where we are. I'm in Taupo on a regular basis, so I will pick a few up, as my last pickup on the way home, and they can go in the freezer, and I'll just let you know. If the next one is terrible, then maybe I won't have any more of them. But man, it was good. It was really good. It was. Now, where do we get to? Daniel, so I'm wondering how it is you guys rate yours in New Zealand. So hopefully that's explained. It's a .3 is, I'm not going to, I can't even remember the full name of it, but it's like a glycol-based brake fluid. That's like the lowest boiling point. The next one up is .4, and then it goes 5.1. .5 is your silicon, and there's a mineral. I've never heard of .6. Don't know. I've never used it. So maybe Simon can help out with that one. So, Mike Adams, looks like you got your money's worth in meat for that pie. It was really good, Mike. Very impressed. Simon, Mike Adams, when you drop a valve collet, oh man, don't get me started on valve collets. The student, when I was teaching, it was funny actually, really funny. The students, we do cylinder heads, right? So they get a 4-cylinder head from a car. We used to have loads of them kicking around, and the other lecturers, a part of their workbook meant that they had to strip the head, do loads of measurements, and then reassemble it. And all the other lecturers made them only remove 1 cylinder's worth of valves, right? And lap them in and stuff, and then refit them. And I didn't do that. No, I made them remove all the valves. And some of these cylinder heads had four valve heads, so there was 16 valves to pull out. And it made some of the students extremely grumpy and frustrated as trying to get all the collets back in and do them properly and space them correctly and stuff. And it would take them quite some time. But it took them longer. The ones that it took longer to do were the ones that really needed to hone their skills and get better at it. And by the time they did the last valve, the last couple of valves went in, they actually got pretty good at doing it. So they learned, and that's why we did it. Just fitting a couple of valves or 4 valves back into a head, yeah, you've done it. Yeah, you know how to do it, but you don't know how to do it properly or really well and reasonably quickly with a method, You just sort of bumble your way through. It's only when you've done quite a few that you start to get the hang of doing it. And the students sort of saw that now and again, but some of them, man, they were throwing spanners around and things. They weren't happy. The joys of being a lecturer. It was funny because every now and again I go down and give them a hand and do one for them, and they thought that was great. Anyway, pie is done. Won a score of 104, which is phenomenal. Highest scoring steak, cheese, and bacon pie. I mean, the highest scoring steak and cheese pie. You get free bacon as well. It's fantastic. Now then, Mike Adams, Simon Raw. Yes, but lucky when that happened to me, replacing the head on a Chevy 250 6-cylinder. I had the old head to steal the spares from. That's cheating, but also very lucky and smart. Good job. I did that on a little Suzuki 1600, Suzuki Vitara. I think I lapped all the valves in. I did lose a collet, but I had a spare. In fact, I think it was the same collets in the SJ413s, and I had a little drawer full of them that I brought from England for just not deliberately. It just happened to come in with the rest of the stuff. But yes, we just used one of those, and it was fine. Simon .6 is racing for high temperatures. Thank you, Simon. Daniel Bedell, I think it qualifies for the top 5 category. I think it does, actually. I think it's right up there, isn't it? Pete Woodfine, 104, so just proves it. Bacon makes a great pie. It does. It seems to do, doesn't it? It was super tasty. But also, big chunks of meat, and the meat was tasty. That steak was really good. John, that pie warmer needs to go in the display cabinet. It does a good job, doesn't it? And Mrs. Mechanic was going to sell it at the car boot sale because we hadn't used it for years. Simon, the most annoying one is the gudgeon pin clip that goes flying across the workshop. I can go one worse than that. Worse than it flying across the workshop, Simon, is pinging down, dropping on top of the crank, and then sliding down the side of the crank into the bottom of the crankcase. Bummer. That's always a problem. And sure, there should be a rag there to stop it from happening. But you know, sometimes it even evades the rag, doesn't it? You know, it just finds the perfect little gap that you've not noticed is there, and it drops down. Fun. At that point, you know you've got a lot more work to do. Yes. So, we've done the pie, we've done the walk around the workshop. I've got a shit ton more work to do today, and back on admin work tomorrow. So I think we're pretty close to the end. I've got this much of a cigarette left, so this is your time to fire through the last few comments. So, yes, the throat. It is getting better again. It's not as bad today as it was yesterday, but I'm monitoring the situation. I was a little bit worried to start off with, to be honest. I think, what the hell? Because I've never had that kind of pain on the side of my throat before. So I might have more news for you next week. Who knows? John Nuttall, wrapper. What? Wrapper's in the bin. It's gone. I did the wrapper. We put it to camera. So I have some videos to do. They're not going to be done today because Mrs. Mechanic's got to crack on with the sandblasting. But there's one video which is outstanding at the moment, which is the fitment of the rear shocks to the little Honda monkey bike. They are now here. You saw them last Sunday. Oh, that hurt. Jeez. Another video is on the Forge, or basically just in general cutting oils, and I might even include that one as well. And we'll see how well that copes. I'll do a couple with that, and ease of use, that kind of thing, as a comparison. And I'm sure Jerry won't mind that because we've got to be, you know, open about stuff. I won't be using engine oil because I know that that's not the right stuff to use. So there's that video as well, and that's going to be a pretty cool video because we're gonna get the little microscope camera thing out and have a look at the wrapper, not warmer. Oh, the wrapper needs to go in the cabinet. Yeah, I've already scrunched it up. I'll save the next one. How's that? I'll get it. In fact, I'll ask them for a new one that hasn't been used, and we'll get it framed, and we'll put it in the cabinet. How's that? The best steak and cheese pie so far gets to go in the gas cabinet, the wrapper. There's a good idea. You're on it, John. Yeah, sorry, I did read that wrong. My fault. It wasn't autocorrect this time around. It was actually me that didn't do that. I failed. Okay. So there you go. Yes, what's next week? Well, next week is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I'm at home, hopefully. Mrs. Mechanic will be in the workshop busy sandblasting and getting ahead with all that stuff. And I should be ready to, and I can do some tumbling and set the cement mixer off in the morning, tumbling parts and just chase them out at lunchtime and things. So that'll be good. So we should be in a position to start painting on Saturday. I've also received a phone call from the Arewa Surf Club regarding their ROV. There's an issue with the steering that I need to have a look at. So I might be bringing an ROV back with me as well. In fact, I can't, actually. I'm going up to Auckland with the big trailer to bring a load of units down. I'm doing some filming next week. I am. Not for Andy Mechanic. I'm doing some filming for work. So that'll be interesting. I'm going to be filming with a very famous ex-All Black rugby player called George Whitelock. So you can Google that, George Whitelock. He's a farmer now. Real nice chap, huge bloke, massive hands. Whenever I go and see him, it's like, morning George. Oh, now then Andy, how are you? I'm all good. You know, he's like 2 foot taller than I am, and I'm just average height. He's a big lad. He really is. You wouldn't want to be on the wrong side of him, that's for sure. I bet he gets his way a lot. I did some filming with Zinzan, was it Brooks? Zinzan Brooks, another ex-All Black back in the UK. Came to the off-road site. Again, real nice chap. Again, big lad. Didn't want to mess with him, you know? And I actually got him washing Jeeps one day. he enjoyed it. He was bored. I think they had a problem with the cameras and stuff, so they weren't filming for a bit. And he got his overalls on. I lent him a pair of overalls, and he was busy washing Jeeps for us. Top bloke. Honestly, any spare labour, any free labour, I used to make use of it. Simon, did any of the students work the quick way to remove the collets with a socket and a small... I think one knew to do that. He'd been shown that in the workshop, because obviously some of them did have jobs as well, maybe Saturday jobs and stuff, and I think one of them knew to do that, which I thought was pretty cool. Daniel, oh, you meant the bore scope. Huh? Oh, hang on. The door's knocking. Bear with me. What have we got? Right, I'm signing off shortly. Thanks, Simon. Bum, bum, bum. No, it's not a bore scope. It's like a little microscope camera that I have that sits on like a little tripod. So we can have a really good close-up look at the cutting edge of each of those two countersink bits and see which one's worn the most. Bearing in mind, the one that's I used the cutting fluid with has done a lot more work than the one that I used no cutting fluid with. So we're going to bear that in mind in the video as well. Where do we get to? John Nuttall, hit the like button, crew. Hit the like button. Yes, please. We've got 25 likes, 30 viewers. There's 6 of you now that haven't yet clicked the like button. So over to you. Oh, nice hot coffee. It's good for the throat. So yeah, next week up to Auckland Thursday, back home Friday, in the workshop Saturday, probably spraying Saturday. Sunday will be the live stream. And then Sunday afternoon, about 2 o'clock, I'm at work. Actually, I've got to drive south. I need to be there about tea time. It'd be a good 4-hour drive from here with the trailer loaded, middle of nowhere place his farm is. But I'll be going to the hotel that night, which isn't too far away. I've got a meeting Sunday night to discuss the filming and what needs to be included. They've got me what they call a run sheet and all the specifications and stuff of a new ROV that we've got come out. So that should be interesting. Wednesday morning, I then load up and come home, actually. Wednesday night, stay at home. Thursday morning, another 3-hour drive up, 3.5-hour drive up to Auckland, drop the vehicles off. I'm then at head office the rest of the day, staying in Auckland Thursday night, back home Friday. So pretty busy on the filming front, and trying to get my normal day job done in between all of that on some days is going to be impossible because I'll be in front of a camera, basically. So there'll be no phone calls, there'll be no emails being answered. I'll be focused. I can only do that, can't I? When you've got a film crew there, time is money. So we've got to crack on. Mike Adams, speaking of bore scopes, I think they have some you can plug into your phone. They do. If so, how well do they work? I think for the price of them, and you can get them off Amazon for like $15 off. They're actually ridiculously cheap little cameras. And they have like a little LED light on them as well. I think they're actually a great starting point. Ivan's got a really good one at the moment. I like the one that Ivan has, and it's on my wish list. So hopefully one day I'll be able to afford to buy one of those. I have spent a bit of money this year, so I've got to slow down a bit. I've got to start making more money again, not spending it. But no, I think, those kind of little things, for the price of them, even if you end up only using them every now and again and it doesn't last particularly long, it's still worth the money, Could get you out of trouble, could save you a lot of work if you had one of those. Simon, Mike Adams got one off Amazon. There you go. I was able to get it to work. Bloody good. Okay, crew. Well, I think we're about there. Cigarette's gone. Mrs. Mechanics brought me a fresh coffee. Thanks, honey. Appreciate that. And I need to get the sandblasting cabinet finally set up. I've got to put a sheet over Alan's bike because it's getting rather dusty. Sorry, Alan. And we better crack on. So, next Sunday, 8:30 a.m. See you there. Thanks for joining me, chaps. And thank you again for all your support. It is very much appreciated. This morning has been a great morning. A good collaborative session. Thank you very much. See you next time. Cheers. Over and out.